Hi, this is Brian King. Not sure what you're doing at this time of day? I'm recording a video. So if you are here, if you are watching, please let me know. Click a like, make a comment, say hi, so that I know that you are along with me for the ride. I've chosen a kind of an interesting topic for this. I want to talk about empathy. Because for those of you that have kids on the autism spectrum or with ADHD, you know that empathy can either be really easy or it can be really challenging. So let's start by getting a sense of where you're at. When you hear the word empathy, what comes up for you? What does it mean? Comment below and let me know what your thoughts are on this, because people tend to have different definitions of it. So when you hear empathy, what does that mean to you? What's the first thing that comes to mind? What kind of feelings come up? Comment below and let me know, because I want to make sure we're on the same page. In fact, chances are you'll have something to teach me. So go ahead and put in the comments, when you hear empathy, are there words it's synonymous with? Do certain people come to mind? Let me know what those things are, because that's really going to help me give you what it is you need as far as this topic goes. Or just click a like. Let me know that you're here. Now, one thing that I recall when my kids were younger, all my kids have Asperger's and ADHD. I remember the times when they obviously did not show empathy, when they would come right out and say rude things to people, where somebody would share something they liked and one of my boys would respond, "That's stupid, that's the worst thing I ever heard." And I don't know about you, but I felt like crawling behind the couch. I was embarrassed. I was humiliated. I wished I didn't know my kids at certain moments. Sometimes I felt like I didn't know my kids because some of their really mean comments came out of the blue. Have you ever experienced this before? Have any of your kids done this? Have somebody else's kids done this? And your jaw dropped and you simply had no idea how to respond? Go ahead and make a quick comment if this sounds familiar to you. I want to make sure that we're talking to each other here. We're on the same page. If you've ever seen somebody else's child seem to lack any kind of concern for somebody else's feelings, or if it was your own child, let me know what that was like for you. Because chances are I have a pretty darn good idea what it's like, having gone through it myself. And some of us can really struggle with what to do about that. Because if you were raised with some sense of knowing that other people's feelings were important, you had to respect other people's feelings, and it never occurred to you to say mean things to somebody else, to say something that was deliberately hurtful. And then you would look at the person who said those things and ask yourself, how can you be so rude? How can you be such a jerk? Don't you care about somebody else's feelings? And then maybe it occurs to you later that the person in question here has some real difficulties with empathy. Maybe it's something they never learned, it was never modeled for them, or maybe for some unknown reason they simply lack the capacity. So if your child is one like ours can be, with Asperger's or ADHD, or something that might stand in the way of their ability to develop empathy, what do you do? I imagine you've tried several things. Sometimes you lose your temper and you say, "Man, I just wish that you would stop being so selfish. When are you going to start showing consideration for others?" And things you say out of frustration, but you know darn well it's probably not going to make a difference. So what do you do? How do you teach a child that seems to lack empathy how to have empathy and concern for others? Well, I stumbled across this interesting article the other day, and it was all about how to teach empathy to your kids. And it was based on some research that was done, and what I learned their recommendation was, or what their findings were around how to teach empathy for kids, I was kind of surprised. And it also reminded me of something that happened in the life of my own kids that very well could have laid the foundation for some empathy for them. What the research here discovered was that reading fiction stories helped lay the foundation for empathy in kids. And the reason they say it helped is because you read a lot about the other characters and what they're feeling, what their motives are, and what their ideas are. But at the beginning of this article, it said the reader is able to form ideas about the emotions and motives of other people. If you know me well, you know I'm not a big fan of that. That's mind reading. That's guessing about what somebody else's experience is, and that's bad practice as far as I'm concerned. But the research didn't stop there. It said that, reading fiction can increase the capacity to empathize, but further in the article, this is where it hits something that reminded me of something that happened for my own kids. It said that it had more to do with when you're little, your parents reading stories with you and discussing not only the character's emotions, but discussing your own emotions in response to what you're reading in the story. And this is something that my wife Kath did religiously every night with the boys when they were little. They got a bedtime story. They got to practice reading parts and using different voices, and she would check in, "Ooh, are you scared? I know I'm scared," and would help them develop self-awareness around their own feelings and their own responses to the story. And it was done through the vehicle of reading fiction stories. It wasn't just one-sided where, okay, I'm going to read this to you until you pass out and get off my back. That wasn't what it was. It wasn't a sleeping aid. It was an opportunity to connect with your child and explore each other's feelings, explore the feelings of other people. And the research showed that the kids that were really big into being read to with their parents showed they scored higher on theory of mind tests and emotional intelligence tests because of this. And I know that with my own kiddos, they are really deep feeling kids. Yeah, sometimes they can be selfish, sometimes they can be rude, but I wouldn't say it's the majority of the time. I'd say for kids that are on the autism spectrum and have difficulties they do, these are some of the most caring boys you'll ever meet. They can be very polite, very generous, very helpful, very proactive, very intuitive in terms of what other people are feeling. And I really got to think back to all that time that Kath spent with them reading these stories and wondering, man, I wonder if that had as big an impact as this research is suggesting. And I think it is. I think it does. Not only that, but we're very feeling people ourselves, and we use a lot of emotional language in our house. Sometimes with language we wish we could take back because we get frustrated like any other parent does. And we have a jar for moments like that, which is often filled with quarters that we use for either the buying of a large appliance or going on a vacation. But that's beside the point. The real point here is that stories can be a very powerful tool. Sharing our impressions, our thoughts, our feelings, our experience about these stories with our kids, letting them see our feelings, seeing their feelings, helping them discover their own and sharing ours with them. Those little moments can lay the foundation of empathy throughout the lifespan, more so than sending them to a class where they have to look at a sticker chart or a poster with a bunch of emojis that are supposed to represent real faces and teaching them this is how you're supposed to care for a person. It's not something you learn academically. It's something that you learn interactively with your kids. So I think that this was a pretty darn good article in that it really got me thinking about the stuff that has helped make things work in my own family, and also about things that I've been able to teach to my clients, because I have helped so many parents all over the world who have come to me with their kids acting out, being mean, bullying, swearing at them, and they throw their hands up and they feel helpless, and they say, I don't know what to do with him anymore. He seems like he doesn't care about anything. He says he doesn't care about people. He doesn't care about their feelings. What do I do? And I teach them. I teach them how to connect with their child. I teach them how to help their child discover their emotions again. I teach them how to create those moments where they share feelings together. It's a process. It's a journey. But man, is it wonderful to be a part of watching families transform because they learned how to respect each other. They learned how to feel and have empathy for one another. And it's such a privilege to be able to help those folks. And I even get questions every day, here on Facebook with people asking, how did you do this, Bray? How did you make this happen? And I'm happy to help, because I didn't learn all this stuff in a vacuum. I wasn't born one day and just said, yes, I understand. It is time to spread the wisdom. That's not how it happened. I've had plenty of mentors throughout my day, and I am more than happy to pay it forward. And that starts with you. So if I can be of help to you, not only with this topic, but anything I talk about, if you have any questions for me, you can private message me anytime. I mean, we are friends after all. We are connected. We found each other for a reason. And I really want to make sure that I provide value to you. So whatever questions you have for me, ask away. And if I don't know the answer, I'll do my best to connect you with the person who has it. And in fact, who do you know that can really benefit from the videos that I place here every day? I imagine that you know a lot of people that are just like you and have a lot of the same concerns and would really be grateful if they had exposure to these same thoughts like you do. So who do you know? Who are you going to share this with the moment after you watch it? Make sure they see it too, so that you can learn and benefit together. And let me know how else I can support you. I'm not a mind reader either. So if there are certain topics that you want me to discuss in these videos, leave a comment below. Let me know what you would like me to discuss. And I will be more than thrilled and grateful for the opportunity to serve you even more. So put the comments below of what you want me to teach you, and I'll make sure I put something together for you soon. Thanks a lot for stopping by for this, and this is Brian King, and we'll be talking again soon.